In the Heights was directed by John M. Chu and is based on the musical of the same name by Lin-Manuel Miranda. I got to see this movie a few weeks ago, actually. I had no idea when the embargo was lifting, so I was surprised to learn that it lifted today. And so I can put the review out for you guys, well, now. This, of course, based on the musical of the same name, takes place in Washington Heights, where we follow a bunch of characters led by Uznavi, played by Anthony Ramos, and his story of how he's basically just trying to live out the summer, which is as chaotic as ever, and he's trying to figure out a life for himself in the process. If ever a love letter existed to New York City, In the Heights would be in that list. This is a movie that really celebrates New York. And it also celebrates, well, the Washington Heights area, but it also celebrates Latinx culture. This is a movie that is very rooted in that. And of course, when you want to make a movie which highlights that, you want to do it well. And Chu and Lin-Manuel Miranda, the two of them, they do an excellent job of this. This is a very fun movie. I had a really great time watching this film. It's beautifully shot and the choreography is amazing. The opening musical number out the gate just gets you into it, and it pretty much keeps you on that level for a majority of the movie. It's a movie that's very energetic and there's always something just bursting off the screen, and it constantly keeps that momentum going for a very, very long time. The performances are also all really, really good. Everybody acts the absolute hell out of their performances, and it's really great. The level of talent on display and the amount of love and care that seems to have gone into this by the actors and from the performers, all of it is downright remarkable, and it is really worth praising. There are certain moments in this that I feel like would have translated really well on a big screen. I saw it on a screener, which because it's also going to be out on HBO Max at the same time. And I kept thinking to myself, if this was a screening, this probably would have got a lot of cheers. Because there's a few moments in it that really are built for those massive audience reactions. And I kept thinking of audience reactions the whole time I was watching this. There's a scene in particular, the musical number that takes place in an alleyway of sorts where the entire neighborhood is gathered. And it's one of those scenes which is just, one, it's really great. It's also sort of a crescendo for certain things that have happened. It's not the end of the movie, don't worry, I'm not spoiling it for you. But I really love that. And, well, someday, I guess, someday. Like I said, the film really keeps you hooked and it really keeps you invested. And despite the fact that it is a musical based on a Broadway play, and if you've seen the Broadway musical, you're gonna really like what they've done here. This film also tries to stick out on its own terms. It's not like the diehards who watched the original musical on the stage are the only ones who are gonna really love this. When you make a musical movie, you want it to translate to all kinds of audiences. I unfortunately never saw In the Heights on stage, but watching this, I felt like I was watching it on stage. And just the way this story is being told and the way that it's been translated onto the big screen is really cool. Of course, if you're a fan of musicals, you'll find a lot of little hints in here of other people who've been in some. You'll find some hints of people who worked with Lin-Manuel Miranda before. If you've watched Hamilton, then you'll see a few cast members in here that'll be very exciting to see. But overall, I think this film was fun. Now, there are some issues. I don't think that this is a perfect movie by any means. I think my biggest issue with this is something that I also had with John M. Chu's last movie, which was Crazy Rich Asians. The first half of that movie was very energetic and very exciting, and it was very entertaining. The second half takes a huge turn and it becomes a lot more serious and way dramatic at times. And it sort of loses its momentum and it sort of drags. Something similar happens here. The film recovers a lot better than Crazy Rich Asians did, but there's a point of time about, once you pass the first half, there's like about 30 minutes which feel like they sort of bring the movie to a stop, and it just takes a while for it to then recover again. And at this time, the movie also brings in a lot of commentary and a lot of socio-political conversations regarding how people in the Latinx community are treated and what they want. And the film hits on those notes very well, but I also think that it tries to do a little too much. And there's one thing about that in particular that doesn't really have a payoff. Now, again, I haven't seen the original musical, so I don't know if that's in there and if that went the same way. But that's essentially something that happens, and that might also have to do with the runtime. This is 2 hours and 25 minutes long, very similar to another movie I just reviewed earlier in the day. And this movie is slightly longer than it should be, and I think that a few minutes could have been shaved off of this very, very easily, especially when things start to drag a bit. But overall, I still had a very good time within the Heights. I still think it's a very good movie and one that is definitely worth seeing and worth watching over and over again. It's a really good, fun movie, and it's a very good empowering movie in a lot of ways. There's some really good messages in here. I just think a few things could have been a little bit better and could have stuck the landing a little bit more, but overall, I had a very good time. I'm gonna give In the Heights an 8 out of 10. Guys, thank you very much for watching. Look forward to more reviews very soon. As always, if you like this, please do subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the movies.